Hey everybody, welcome back to Monster Rancher 4. I believe I ended having no idea what I was doing, so
I love it when we do that.
I actually just watched the end of the last video because I couldn't remember what we were doing. Alrighty, that looks good.
Smappy's iPad is apparently low on battery power right now, so this is going to be a quick recording.
Yeah, I was all like, I think I'll charge my iPad while I'm recording, but I kind of need it to record. Oops. That was awesome of me to do. Alright, let's do Graham.
Did that make any sense to you guys viewers? It didn't make any sense to me.
What did I say something really stupid?
Nothing stupid, just something that I didn't quite understand it.
I know I said I was gonna charge my iPad while I was recording, but I kind of need it to record.
Need your iPad to record?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, now I gotcha. So why can't you charge it at the same
I've
time?
said pretty stupid things today, so I just wanted to make sure I just didn't add to my list.
Okay, I guess there's not a power plug nearby where it's going to be when it's recording.
I don't have a cord long enough.
Gotcha. Okay, now it makes sense.
Sorry. I don't. I know you can buy like those 50-foot power cords and
Oh,
stuff,
yeah.
but I don't own any. I mean, I guess I can go get an extension cable out of my garage.
I think that's a
But
bit much. I mean, we're trying to keep these setups as simple as possible.
And not to mention that my entire floor is littered with Skylanders right now. I actually had to push them all out of the way just to put the PlayStation down.
That is awesome.
Yeah, because Trap Team just came out and Helper and I have been playing.
Okay, so Gary gets a scolding.
Yeah.
Maybe Graham too?
Graham 2, yeah. Okay.
I was reminded how spoiled I am this week. I went to World Market.
I haven't been to one in forever.
Neither did I. But the reason why I don't go to mine, I like it actually, but the reason why I don't go ever is because it's clear on the other side of town. And by on the other side of town, I mean it's like a 15-minute drive away.
Oh no.
I know, 15 minutes. And that seriously is why I don't go to it. Because it is literally 15 minutes away. And I was just like, wow, like how spoiled am I that a clear across town is 15 minutes away.
Yeah, that is spoiled.
Yeah.
I think it takes me 10 minutes just to get to the grocery store.
Oh yeah, it's like 4 minutes away from me to the grocery store, I think.
Well, I have several grocery stores, and it really depends on what kind of food I want when I go to the grocery store because, as everyone knows by now, I can't eat dairy, and so one grocery store sells a good dairy-free pizza, and another one sells the ice cream, and another one sells the dairy-free butter when I choose to use it, although I rarely do anymore. You know, so it's kind of like it depends on what I want to buy. It depends on which store. But I do not go to, Whole Foods anymore? Thank goodness I don't have to go there anymore because I hated going to Whole Foods.
Why?
Nothing's wrong with it, but it's the only Whole Foods in the entire area I live in, and that includes like 5 cities. So, and it's in one of the worst areas to drive in, and I also although I think Whole Foods is part of the reason it's terrible to drive in, it's just a nightmare trying to get in and out.
So yeah, I don't have to deal with it very often. The only time I go to any of those kind of more organic friendly, kind of healthy friendly grocery stores, we have like a, what's it called? I think we have like a Village Foods or something here.
Yeah, I heard about that. That's been popping up.
And the only reason why I actually go to it, because it's out of the way too, is that there's a restaurant actually located inside the grocery store.
Ooh.
And the restaurant and the people that do it, it was actually it's my favorite burger joint in town. And they like went out of business basically for weird reasons. And apparently afterwards they moved into the grocery store. So now they have like this burger joint with like these super greasy, like disgusting, like awesome hamburgers in like this healthy grocery store. And I think it's just hilarious. And I can get like the root beer I like over there too.
Oh my god, I really want root beer now.
Oh, root beer does sound good.
I've been drinking way too many. I actually was so stressed out yesterday, I drank 2 sodas. That's actually a lot for me, so...
I was going to say, I had some guys over to my house a couple of weeks back, and I was like, hey, you guys want something to drink? And they're like, yeah, what do you got? And I'm like, I got some nice, like, kind of gourmet root beers and gourmet cream sodas and stuff. So they both went for the cream sodas. And like a week later, we were out to dinner or something together, and they were like, okay, those cream sodas were seriously good. Like,
what were they?
Oh, what were they? It wasn't my favorite brand actually. It was my second favorite. Virgil's is what they're called. It's like
Okay.
a micro brewed something, I think. They might be
Yeah,
local. I don't know.
every time my company achieves a big milestone, well, I don't know if they do it anymore because the company's grown quite a bit since. Because when I was hired, I was developer number 6, so like literally that was it. We were just 6 of us, and so they would send a case of Goose Island root beer to everybody. But the problem is I couldn't drink it for most of the time. They were sending it to me because it was made with real cane sugar.
Mm-hmm.
And it had so much sugar in it, it would have sent me into shock because of hypoglycemic, so I couldn't actually drink it. But I heard it was super good root beer. Let me think. I guess he could use more speed.
You can't go wrong with more speed.
I didn't mean to do that. I'm so out of it. I apologize, guys. It was either record a video and have me just kind of drone on, or not record at all. So
I was seriously tempted the other day. I was super tired when I woke up, and I was like, man, I need to find like an Operation Neptune for me, because I was just like, I am so tired right now. I would make a fool of myself, and I was like to do math right now. I would make an absolute fool of myself.
I've been making absolute fool of myself for like 2 days straight at work. So you think, okay, life blade is okay, rest, and then I think he could do one more book. Alrighty. Book. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna see now. It's funny though because I was so stressed out a few days ago that I thought, maybe I should just record when I do have time, just by myself when nobody else is around. I was like, I'll record my own LP, and then when I do the whole thing, I'll upload it all at once, so there's nobody waiting for it. And I was gonna do Soul Nomad, and I was so excited. But 2 videos in, I decided to stop doing the LP because, one, I forgot there was English in it, and I know some people that know me, I can't stand English voice acting when I have the option. So most of the voice actors were actually not that bad, but one of the main characters, I wanted to kill her. Like, I just couldn't listen to her voice any longer. It sounded so forced and so bad that I was just like, oh my gosh. And the other problem was one of the main characters cursed so much that there was no way around it. Like, I counted it. Within the first 5 minutes of him appearing, he cussed 23 times.
Sheesh.
So, I was like, and there's voice acting in English, so he's saying it out loud, so I was like, yeah, I can't get around that, so. I don't know, I keep thinking I might do Techno's Deception for Halloween, but, I don't know if anyone else is gonna find that game scary like I do, although that's more like a childhood scary kind of game. Plus I'm terrible at it, although not nearly as terrible as Helper, because Helper killed himself 4 times, I think, in the tutorial, so.
I was gonna say, I was like, I could have sworn I heard about some stories with that game.
Yeah, like, I told Helper, like, way back when, I was like, oh my gosh, you have to play this game. And so I thought the tutorial was easy compared to the rest of the game, and he couldn't even beat the tutorial. He kept killing himself, and I was just like, the boss is standing right in front of you, and you're still managing to attack yourself. And I was just like, that's incredibly impressive. And so I was just like, oh no, my whole LP could end up like that. I mean, I wouldn't kill myself in the tutorial, most likely, but...
Well, I mean, you just need to let him know, no, that is not how you power grind in this game. There is no power grinding in this game.
There is no power grinding in that game. Because the whole thing, I don't know if anyone's played Techno's Deception. Pretty much what it is, why am I giving everyone beef? I don't have enough money for this.
Beef.
Is pretty much, you're gonna, at the very beginning of the game, you're gonna be executed for a crime you didn't commit, so you're like, anyone help me please, and so of course, the wrong person decides to help you, which is Satan, so he's like, oh, well, I'll save you, but you have to do work for me, and so you have to go to this house that he's apparently trapped in or something, and you have to free him. He's sitting in this house, you have to free him, but the first thing you gotta do is get rid of the old person that's taking care of the house, which is Arda Baron, which I think I talked about in Monster Rancher 1, and so then you have to collect souls and stuff to slowly release him out of this trapped room, Satan out of this trapped room. And so you have to so you can't do anything. You can't attack or you can't do anything yourself, but what you do is you lay traps in the house and you convince people to come to the house, like people who want to kill you. And so they'll come running towards you, but you can't attack them, so what you have to do is lead them into traps. So you have to build the house, so you actually, between each stage, you can add to your house, like, rooms and hallways, and then you have to put traps down and stuff, and then you have to lead them in the trap. And so it's one of those eerie games where it's first-person view, and you're walking around, and you know the guy is around the corner, and you're like trying to get him around the corner. All of a sudden he like jumps around the corner and tries to kill you. You're like, oh my god, but you can't do anything to defend yourself except for walk into the trap and try to set it off. And at the beginning of the game, it's not that bad because they'll just be so stupid that they'll fall into the trap. But later on, they'll look up or down and see the trap coming and jump out of the way. And it's a long game, but it's a lot of fun, I think. And it's kind of one of those I consider a party game where it's a lot of fun to have a lot of people. Even though it's one player, it's a lot of fun to play with a lot of people because then they'll give you opinions on how to set up the room, and then of course you'll all scream at the same time, and it's funny. My sister and I used to play that game all the time, but we'd only play at night because we thought it was funnier that way. And I remember we'd be sitting up at like 8:30 at night, ooh, like screaming, "Oh my god! You know, he's around the corner!" It was funny. There was a lot of other things to the game, but that was pretty much the basic premise of it. I know they've actually made several sequels since, but they're not nearly as good, of course. They focus too much on the killing and all that, and less on the strategy and gameplay.
That's too bad.
Yeah. I think the most recent one was on the PS Vita, but I don't own one, so...
I'm trying to remember what the last horror genre game was that I played. It was probably Eternal Darkness.
I think Tecmo's Deception is probably the only horror game I've technically played.
I've played a handful, but I mean, I think Eternal Darkness might be the only one I've ever actually beaten as well, because I played Resident Evil, the remake, the one on for GameCube. But I got maybe a quarter of the way into it or so and got like stuck on something. Huh?
I forgot to mention real quick, this is a Suezo gel. Go ahead.
But yeah, I played remake and I got like,
oh, come on.
I don't know, a quarter of the way in and got stuck and then just got distracted and didn't pick it back up. And then I played Resident Evil 4 and got like a third of the way in and then got distracted and didn't finish it off either. So I'll have to go back and play them at some point. They were both good games, but...
I know the only other game that I know isn't horror but scares the living bejesus out of me is Dune.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what it is.
It's the worms coming out of the ground, isn't it?
No, it's the visions you have when something's going wrong. And if you do something just right, or wrong in that case, you can die very quickly and not know it. And so you could spend like 20 minutes staring at the screen waiting for something, and then when you get out of your stupid helicopter, you die instantly because of your answering machine head.
Well, it's like you're supposed to be prescient or something and you're not.
Oh, I gotta have to cut that out.
Oh no!
Sorry. Yeah, he needs more speed. I was trying really hard to pay attention to that one. I wasn't listening to anything you said during that fight. I'm sorry.
Well,
you got fame though.
I gave you the secrets to the universe, but if you weren't listening, I'm sorry.
Well, I have it recorded, so I'll go back and get it.
I think they don't record. They can only
so
be
nobody
passed down,
will have heard that.
Yeah, they can only be passed down verbally in person.
Okay,
or,
even though
or
you're not here in person.
Or digitally in real time. Do not doubt.
Well, I mean, I've actually tried LPing Dune twice, but I can't bring the nerve to actually edit the videos. I know, as stupid as that sounds.
I was going to say, I probably... Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, because I haven't actually gotten to the part that freaks me out, but just thinking about it makes me not want to get towards it. But the funny thing is I actually tried looking up an LP of that game, and I think the last time I looked, there was only one, and there was no commentary. But the only problem is I would consider doing it more seriously, besides the fact that it scares the crud out of me. But I've actually only beaten the game twice, and I played it a lot when I was a kid. I only beat it twice, and I know one of the times my dad had to help me, so I don't know if I could beat it again. I know one good strategy to use at the beginning of the game, but after that, it's kind of like, it's hit or miss for me. Oh, I forgot who I was supposed to scold.
Gary.
Okay. I was like, it was one of them.
Yeah, thankfully I was paying attention this time. I was going to say, was Dune made by Westwood Studios, the people that did Command & Conquer?
I think that's the second Dune.
Okay.
I think the first one was, I want to say Interplay, but I can't remember.
Man, that's a name I haven't heard in a while. Well, except for all the lawsuits.
Well, I know, the first Dune game, which is the one I'm talking about, was different from the rest of them, because I think the rest were made by Westwood Studios. Because I think that's... But I only ever played that one, because... I don't even know. I think my grandpa gave it to us. Because my grandpa... It was so funny, because, I mean, I don't know if a lot of y'all remember back in the early 90s, when you bought a computer, a lot of computers were built like in just like mom and pop shops, because they would build these computers and slap on their own sticker and be like, look, it's a PC, you know. And there wasn't like a Best Buy where you can go get these name brand laptops. Like, there wasn't that many back then. And so to get people to buy their computer, I mean, Icon might not remember this because he always got Macs, but if you were trying to buy a PC, to buy their PC, people would be like, well, we'll get you a bunch of free like CD applications or floppy disk applications, depending on the era, and games and stuff if you buy it. Well, my grandpa loved buying these PCs for no reason whatsoever. I still don't, to this day, don't know why he kept doing it, but he'd buy one, and they didn't want any of the games, so he would send it to me and my sister, and that's how we acquired a large portion of our games. Dune was one of them. Colonization was one of them. Oh, no, wait, did we buy? No, I think Colonization. Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis was definitely one of them. I had about 50 or 60 floppy disks, like the big black floppy disks, full of games. I had about 20 or 30 small floppy disks full of games, just random games, like Sim Life, I think was one of them. I mean, I had a bunch of games that he just gave to us like that. And so half the time we didn't even have the instruction manual because they didn't even have them, the people who sold them the computer. So I feel like I'm missing somebody. No, it was me. But yeah, so it's funny because that's why I have such a random collection of games.
Okay, so I'm looking at the Wikipedia page for Dune.
Okay.
And it is actually really interesting.
Wait, the one I'm talking about, or the Dune series?
The series of video games, the history there. So it turns out that both Dune and Dune 2 came out in 1992.
Okay.
Turns out they were both published by Virgin Interactive.
Oh, I was close.
You were. Really. It turns out they were developed by different companies, though. So Dune 2 was by Westwood. Dune 1 was by a company called Cryo Interactive, which is now bankrupt.
Okay, yeah.
Apparently what happened is that they were rival games, and they were both published by the same company. Which is like just bizarre. And so Westwood put out the sequel like the same year that the original one came out. And then Westwood came out with Dune 2000 in 98, and then the Emperor Battle for Dune in 2001. And then the same year that happened, Cryo, who made the original Dune, put out Frank Herbert's Dune, and apparently it was a massive flop and it bankrupted the company. And then they actually had already basically finished a game called Dune Generations, and it never got released even.
Yeah, because the one I played, it was just called Dune. I wasn't anything fancy, and it had really good voice acting, actually. Oh, I can still picture some of the voices. Oh my god, I'm getting creeped out just thinking about it.
But I was gonna say, like, I actually spent like probably 4 or 5 hours last week, like going through Wikipedia for all the different Dune lore.
Well, the funny thing about my Dune game, which it was one of those things that back in the day really made a game great that people don't do anymore. And for anyone who knows the series, there's people called Fremen in the series, and the Fremen are in the game as well. But the thing that just really polished off the game with little things is you could change the language of the text. I think they only spoke English. I'm not sure if they spoke another language. I can't remember, but I do know you could change the text language into a whole bunch of different languages, and one of them was Fremen. So you could actually sit there and read text for the entire game written in Fremen.
Okay, that is slightly awesome and slightly insane.
I always thought it was really cool.
I mean, that's like making a Lord of the Rings game only in Elvish, or making a Star Trek game only in Klingon.
In Klingon, yeah. You know, and the only time I ever turned it on was when I was at the beginning in the castle messing around with the people. I know Duncan, Idaho is in the front, and I always called him Dunkin' Donuts because, ironically, I played the game long before I ever saw the movie or read the book, and so I couldn't remember Duncan, Idaho, so I was like, hey, look, it's Dunkin' Donuts. And I always liked listening to him and talking in Fremen, you know, on the screen, so... Because to me, you know, when they're talking, even if they're not saying anything out loud, reading the text, I always consider that them talking to me, so... Because I'm a nerd from the DOS age.
Speaking of being a nerd, okay, for any Lord of the Rings fans out there who want to correct me on calling it Elvish, let's just say it's Sindarin, okay? We'll be done with this. Like, I don't want to get into any discussions about the different varieties of the Elven language and all that type of stuff, okay?
I don't know anything about Lord of the Rings, so I have nothing to say.
Oh, it's you... I don't know if you would enjoy it or not. You actually might like the Silmarillion more than you would like Lord of the Rings.
I mean, I know enough about it to think that it's just nothing that interests me, which is odd considering that I like, you know, fantasy stuff and RPGs and stuff like that, but I don't know.
Well,
I've never had anyone seriously recommend I have to watch it or read the books.
No, I wouldn't recommend the movies to you necessarily, and I wouldn't recommend the most recent Hobbit to you either. Maybe some of the older ones that were made.
I actually have read the original Hobbit book way back when I was young.
The original Hobbit's a lot of fun, but I was going to say Silmarillion actually might be up your alley. Because it's a lot of kind of world building and like wars between like gods and men type of thing.
Come on, yeah! Eat that, UK! Yeah! Go Graham! That makes my day.
Incidentally, viewers who have not heard of the Silmarillion, you really owe it to yourself to go and look up what the Silmarillion is. And no, I will not spell that.
I don't know what other game I would LP in my spare time. I was so disappointed about Soul Nomad because I really wanted to LP that one.
We do need to find you a game because, like, historically, you've always had some game where you can kind of put in some hours here and there when you're by yourself.
Yeah,
Nice!
This is awesome. Yeah! Go Graham! That made that quick.
No kidding.
Speaking of which, what percentage is my iPad? Oh no!
What are you down to?
I don't know, but the game froze.
The game froze?
It did.
Yes, it did.
So I guess we'll see you guys in the next video when we keep training and battling. Bye for now.
Bye, guys.